everyone, I'm Nora Crone. I'm a violist in New York City, co-founder of the Toe Project for String Players, and a musician's vocal dystonia recovery advocate. In this video, I'm going to be talking about mindfulness and why I think it's an extremely useful practice in dystonia recovery. Very briefly, I just want to mention that if you're new to this channel, I highly recommend that you check out some of my previous videos where I explain more about the process that helped me recover from dystonia. I'll leave some links down below, but in essence, through learning a system of playing called the Till approach with a violinist named Sophie Till, I gradually changed my brain through movement, and my symptoms slowly disappeared. After 2 years of regular lessons, I returned to professional playing, and now I have the privilege of assisting others, primarily violists and violinists, in their recovery. Okay, so chances are that you've heard of mindfulness, maybe you've even done some mindfulness or meditative practice yourself, but in case you haven't, here's my quick definition. Mindfulness is the act of paying attention to what's happening in the present moment without judgment. Now, when we think of meditation or mindfulness, we may have an image of someone sitting in lotus position with their eyes closed, chanting Om. And that's one way to practice mindfulness, but there are many others. And for our purposes here, I'd say that the defining features of a mindfulness practice that can support our dystonia recovery are that it allows us to focus our awareness fully on the object of our choosing, and that it gives us a sense of perspective on our mental and emotional state. So let's look at that first feature, the capacity of mindfulness to focus our attention on the object of our choosing. There have been countless times in my dystonia recovery where I've felt a novel sensation or had an insight into how my body and brain were operating that I'm 100% sure I would have missed if I didn't have a daily practice of cultivating awareness of the present moment. When I go into the practice room, well, the metaphorical practice room since I live in a one-bedroom apartment, I set aside all of the distracting thoughts about life away from the viola, and my awareness becomes centered on two things: what I want my body to do, and what is happening in my body and coming out of the instrument right in this moment. It's worth mentioning that what I want my body to do is a question with a very specific and sophisticated answer, biomechanically speaking. Especially when we're in the stage of actively searching for the correct movements, which by the way is much easier with a guide. I want to play a scale, or I want to play this passage, or even I just want to play these two notes, is not nearly specific enough for the brain to turn into a viable root B experience. An appropriate answer to the question, what do I want my body to do, might be more like, I want my aligned finger, hand, forearm unit to engage the string to the left on one point of contact with resilience in all of the fulcrums. Let go to neutral and move as a unit to the new spot and engage the string in the same way on a different point of contact. Eventually, that becomes, I want to play this note and then this one. But in this approach to recovery, we need to actively construct the root B experience in as much detail as needed for the brain to produce that experience reliably. It's that attention to detail, to the feedback that our brain and body are giving us about the quality of our movement, that mindfulness can help us with. Now, I'm not saying we can't go too far with this. Sometimes if we're hyper-focused, especially on things that feel bad, we may need to expand our focus or shift our intention to something more general. But with practice, tuning out distractions and tuning into our proprioception, the awareness of our own bodies, we can tap into a deeper level of analysis and practice that helps us discern the effect of our thinking and our movement on our body's response. Mindfulness can also support our recovery beyond its uses in the realm of the somatic or proprioceptive. It can also help us become aware of the attitude or emotional or cognitive state we're bringing to our practice session. Stressed, frustrated, impatient, despairing, versus calm, curious, open to experiencing something new. The practice of mindfulness can also help us notice when our mood is coloring the narrative of our recovery, such as when a bad day at the instrument, or in general, generates a false story that we've made no progress, or when we're putting expectations on ourselves based on external stressors like fear about the future or comparing ourselves to others. Lastly, certain types of mindfulness practices in particular can help us cultivate compassion for ourselves during what is likely one of the hardest things, if not the hardest thing, that we've experienced in our lives. I'll be honest, many people dismiss these so-called ancillary aspects of recovery, like meditation, exercise, overall body awareness, sleep habits, as irrelevant or less important. They just sort of skip over it to get to the good stuff. And I can just hear some people grumbling, just tell me how to fix my hand, lady. And I totally understand why. But I can also tell you that even with the quality of practical, technical guidance that I received, there is no way I would have stuck with the recovery process without everything around it that supported me. And that includes mindfulness practice. If you're interested, I'll leave some links down below to places where you could start. But be aware that there are many, many forms of meditation and mindfulness out there. Some have a spiritual focus, some are strictly secular, and they really are quite different from one another. As you explore these practices, I want to emphasize a Buddhist saying that has helped me navigate the world of meditation while staying true to myself. Ehipassiko, which in Sanskrit essentially means see for yourself. Try something and let your inner knowing tell you whether that particular practice is the right thing for you in this moment. So that's it for today, and I really hope it's helpful. If so, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with anyone you think could benefit. If you want to know more about dystonia recovery, you can subscribe to my channel, and if you want to know more about healthy string playing in general, you can also subscribe to the Dope Project. I'm Nora Crone, and my website is www.noracrone.com. Thanks everyone, see you next time.